The other day, Spotify released some interesting information as part of their 20 years of Spotify, which is interesting within itself. But because I don't remember Spotify existing in 2006. I'll be honest.
Well, that's kind of how these things work, right? Like, just because you weren't using it
Right. Doesn't
doesn't
mean it
mean
didn't
that
exist.
it didn't exist. It wasn't always the thing we were using, right? Like, because we lived through um, the entirety of Spotify, Facebook, same thing. Like, we lived through all of it. So yeah, I don't remember Spotify then either. I don't know when. I don't know what my first memory of Spotify is, to be honest. That's one. Spotify is one of the ones for me where I was um, thinking along the lines that you were thinking. I was like, wait, well, when did we start? When did
Right.
we start using Spotify? I don't. I don't know the answer to that question.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they released a couple. They released a couple of things. They released most streamed artist of all time, their top 20. Their top 20 most streamed albums of all times. Their top 20 most streamed songs of all times, and their top 20 most streamed podcast of all times, which I thought that last one was really interesting.
Well,
So,
same thing with podcasting. Podcasting has been around for a long time, but people only started really talking about podcasting in the last few years.
yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Um, so as far as this top 20 artists, I feel like we knew most of these already because we've discussed like the top five up here plenty of times and how they're the top five. Um, what was interesting to me about this top 20, which I'll go over the list in a second, Beyonce's not on the top 20 of artists of all time. And I'm very shocked by that.
Yeah,
I
it is
thought I thought
surprising.
she would be.
It is surprising.
So I was shocked. I had to look twice. I was like, no, I must have skipped over Beyonce. Nope, there's no Beyonce on the top 20. And maybe she's 21. I don't know. But
I was,
interesting
yeah,
regardless. Interesting regardless, because you don't think 20 or 21 when you think of Beyonce.
right. I would imagine she's top 50. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just mean there's so many artists. I would assume she would be on this list of top 20 as well. But it's also top 20 streamed on Spotify artists of all time. It doesn't, yes, it is a metric that can be used, I think, um,
Mhm.
but it's not the only one. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think if we look at other lists, we'll find that Beyonce is in the top 20 probably pretty often for other lists.
Mhm.
But this is a bit strange. So I have to imagine that she's in the top 50, whatever that looks like, and probably pretty high up on that list too.
Yeah, so starting with 20 and going backwards, the top 20 artists streamed of all time on Spotify are 20 Juice World, 19 Future, 18 Kendrick Lamar, 17 Coldplay, 16 Rihanna. I thought Rihanna would be higher. 15 J Balvin, 14 Bruno Mars. I thought he would be higher. Post Malone is at 13, BTS at 12. I thought BTS was going to be like number 10 because BTS, they got a lot of faithful fans.
Yeah.
Travis Scott, number 11. I'll be honest, I didn't think Travis Scott was a top 20 streamed artist. Goes to show
Travis Scott is
sometimes you don't
huge.
know shit.
Travis Scott is huge, and I didn't know how huge Travis Scott was until I've probably said this on here before, but until I watched his Netflix documentary a few years ago, or
Hmm.
however long ago it came out, and then I was like, oh, people flock to Travis Scott. He's a huge, huge, huge artist. So that actually didn't surprise me because he's huge.
Yeah. Top 10. Kanye West, number 10. 9, Eminem. 8, Billie Eilish. I know my daughter is going to be hype when I tell her that.
My niece too. Are you guys going to the movie?
Probably not. Probably something
No?
she'll, probably something she'll do with mom, thankfully.
Okay.
7, Justin Bieber. 6, Ed Sheeran. 5, Ariana Grande. I did not think Ariana Grande was going to be 5. I knew she would be on this list, but I did not think she was going to be 5. That caught me off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these next four, we talk about them being on here all the time. So these next four, I knew.
Not surprising.
No, because they battle for the number one spot, and we talk about that up here all the time.
Yeah.
So, at number 4, The Weeknd. At number 3, Drake. At number 2, Bad Bunny. And number 1, top dog, Taylor motherfucking Swift.
Yeah. Which, I mean, who's surprised? It was either gonna be Taylor or Bad Bunny at number 1. So that, or Bruno or The Weeknd.
Well, Bruno's 14, so.
I know Bruno's 14, but I actually thought that he would be top 10 in the top 10. The Weeknd makes sense to me. Like any of those three, I would have assumed would have been. Let me back up. Taylor, Bad Bunny, The Weeknd. Any of those three, I thought very easily would have been in the top spot, and that's because we've always heard since Spotify started, giving us some of their stats,
Right.
These are very broad strokes, where they're not giving us any specifics. But ever since we started hearing about this Spotify counting how many streams,
Mm-hmm.
we've heard The Weeknd, we've heard Taylor, we've heard Bad Bunny always in the conversation. They're never not in the conversation, and in fact, they tend to battle each other and they bounce back and forth on the list all the time. So it's not shocking. Again, I will say Beyonce not being on this top 20 list is so shocking. Like, the more and more I sit here and think about it, it's so shocking that she's not on this list.
Yeah. I totally agree. I thought for sure, like, I missed it. I really went twice and was like, wait, well, where was Beyonce at? Not here.
Yeah. But I do also want just people to understand, because I started, Spotify posted this on their Instagram, so I started looking through the comments, and there's someone who was really upset and said they found the list appalling, and it says there's genuinely much better songs out there. Streaming doesn't really represent older material, so they start listing like David Bowie and Simon and Garfunkel. I don't think it's about best, right?
No, this is just numbers.
Is it a
just
list
numbers
that basically tells you who people are listening to? Sure, but it's not trying to define who's the best or who sounds better or anything like that. It's just telling you on Spotify, and remember, everyone doesn't use Spotify.
Right.
Apple Music is just as huge as Spotify, right? Or pretty close to it. So
yeah, it's close.
There's tons of people who are listening on Apple and not listening on Spotify, or there's people who are not listening to either one and listening elsewhere. So the data is reflective of the people who listen to Spotify, or people who have streamed on, or users who have streamed on Spotify. So that's why I'm like, grain of salt. Just like when we talk about these Billboard lists, Billboard's great, love them to death, but those lists are not end all be all. Now those a lot of times are opinions, right? But these are, if we are choosing to trust Spotify, I can't say any more than that, then we have to assume that these are just the numbers. This is just data, and take it as that, because ain't no way that people are not streaming Beyonce. We know that. It just doesn't make sense. But maybe people are over there streaming Beyonce on Apple more.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I have questions, but I'm not allowed to ask them.
I got
So,
you.
you know. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, let me
Did
pull
you
up my Spotify. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you find any of these other categories like striking that you think we should I mean, most streamed albums, the first one is Bad Bunny, the second one is The Weeknd, Starboy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so SZA's on the top album streamed.
Yeah, it's really interesting. No Beyonce there either. And
Now,
I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan. I just think this is interesting. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to call it a CO conspiracy, but
I just think it's interesting.
where there's
Yeah, The
smoke, there's
Weeknd has
fire.
multiple albums on the top 20. Drake has multiple albums on the top 20. Yeah, it's interesting. Taylor
This
Swift
is
has
interesting.
2. Bad Bunny has 2. Post Malone has 2. Oh, does The Weeknd have more than 2? Hold on. Yeah, The Weeknd has 3 of the top streamed albums.
And he's got the top streamed song.
Yep. Blinding Lights.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
What's shocking to me is Starboy. I never thought that song was great.
Well, it was. Oh, yeah. Well, that was huge. And wasn't that the year he
No,
did
I just never liked it. It was the year he did the Super
was
Bowl,
it?
yeah.
Okay, so that's why.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
You
Drake
want to
One
talk about
Dance.
podcasts
I
real
knew
quick?
that was going to be up there.
What'd you say?
I knew Drake One Dance would be up there.
Baby, I like your style.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
yeah,
dun.
I could see it. I would actually think
Now, what's
Hotline
really
Bling.
shocking? Say it again.
I would actually think Hotline Bling.
Oh no. What's really shocking to me about most streamed songs of all time is Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. That song came out like a year ago,
I mean, yeah,
and this up there already. So that one might overtake some others as time passes on.
yeah, of course. It would have to, at the way it's pacing.
Right.
I do
Most
want
streamed podcast. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be real honest with you. Now, I can't say too much
I'll say
for
it for you.
multiple reasons, right?
I'll say it for you.
So I'm gonna say two quick things.
Go
My
ahead.
first thing is I recognize a handful of these. There are 20 on the list, and I think I recognize either 4 or 5. And of those 4 or 5, I have only ever actively sought out to listen to one of them, The Daily. I have never committed to watching an entire episode of the Joe Rogan Experience,
Okay.
or
I
call,
have.
or call her daddy. I've seen pieces. Not saying I've never seen them. Just saying I've never sat down and said, "Let me press play on one of these." I have no, as a podcaster, as a person who works in the podcasting industry, I have no opinion here because, well, for two reasons. One, I am a podcaster and a person who works in the podcast industry, and that's just me being all the way honest. And then number two, I don't know what I'm looking at on this list. I have no idea. And maybe I should know better because of those reasons. But I don't. And so I'm just not going to say anything about this. That's all I wanted to say, is that I have nothing to say about the list of most streamed podcasts. I believe that they're most streamed. I mean, Joe Rogan is number one. Joe Rogan has been number one. Has he ever not been number one? I don't know. To my knowledge. On any podcast list, Joe Rogan is always there. Do they even check the data, or do they just put him? Kidding! I kid. I kid,
Well,
I
that's
kid,
what
I
I was.
kid. I kid.
I'm. I'm not. I mean, we know it's Rogan because Rogan got the Spotify deal.
Yes.
And doesn't Call Her Daddy have a Spotify deal too?
I do not know that answer.
All right. Well, listen. The podcast list, I believe, is rigged. I don't believe the podcast list. So that's all I'll say.
Good luck to Spotify on all their future endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
I wish them well.
Yeah.
I wish them well. These lists were interesting. Thank you, Spotify, for the lists.
All right. That's
When I
good.
write
Let's
my
get to our.
memoir. Kidding. Never mind. I kid.
All right, Brandy.